Okay, in these presentations, I am presenting on the topic powers of the executing court. Here, at first, we will discuss on the concept of the executions. General concept of the executions. Uh, After that, the powers of the executing court. Here, now the general concept meaning of the execution. Here, execution it means it signifies the enforcement or giving effect to a judgment or order of a court of justice. Execution means the process for enforcing or giving effect to the judgments of the court. Yeah, the concept executions it means the process for enforcing a judgments or order of the court. Here, execution is the enforcement of decrees and orders by the process of the court. By the process of the court, whatever the judgments or orders of the courts is enforced. This process is known as the execution. So as to enable the decree holder to realize the fruits of the decree. So that the decree holder will realize the fruits of the decree. Here, the execution is complete when the judgment creditor or a decree holder gets money or other thing awarded to him by the judgment, decree, or order. That is, here the this execution is complete when the judgment creditor or decree holder gets the money or any other thing, whatever the order by the court, order by the competent court, based on the matter in the issue. Yeah, the satisfaction of decree or order or judgments, but is judgment by the judgment holder. If it is complete, then the execution process will be completed. That is that is the general concept of the execution. Here, now the section 38 of the civil procedure code enacted given the provision that a decree may be executed either by the court which passed it or by the court to which it is sent for execution. Yeah. Section 30 given the provision states the judgment or decree can be executed by the court which passed a judgment or a decree or by the court which transfer for the execution. That is the executive court. Here, section 37 defines the expression court which passed a decree, while section 39 to 45 provide for the transfer for execution of a decree by the court, which passed a decree to another court, and given some conditions for such transfer, and also deal with powers of executing court. Yeah, sections 39 to 45. These provisions provides about the powers of the executing court. When transferred by the court which has first the judgment or decree. Here, now the powers of the executing court. Here, section 42 of the code expressly confers upon the court executing a decree sent to it the same powers as if it had been passed by itself. Here, it is thus the power and duty of the executing court to see that the defendant gives the plaintiff the very thing the decree directs, and nothing more and nothing less. Here, section 42, it is expressly given that whatever the judgment or decree transferred to the executing court to execute this judgment or decree for the enforcement, that is. Here, the executing court, they will have the same powers as if judgment or decree, if it is passed by the executing court. That is, here, the executing court, they can enforce, they can realize this judgment or decree for the judgment creditor or judgment holder from this judgment debtor. It is, this power is obtained with the help of section 42 by the executing court. Here, now, at the same time, the court requested, the court executing the decree doesn't exercise power in respect of the matters which could be determined only by the court which first the decree. Yeah. But here some prohibitions, prevention is given to the executing court. Okay? Whatever the power, it can be exercised only by the court which is first is judgment or decree. It cannot be exercised by the executing court. Here, in other sense, the powers to be exercised by the executing court relate to the procedure to be followed in execution of a decree and do not extend to the substantive rights of the parties. Yeah. The power transferred to the executing court. Yeah. It can be exercised only in relation to the procedure only. Whatever the procedure necessary for the enforcement of these judgments and decree, it can only be exercised by the executing court. But this executing court doesn't have right to determine the substantive rights of the parties. Yeah, the executing court cannot convert itself into the court passing the decree. Yeah, the executing court cannot convert itself to the court which has passed the judgment or decree. Here, there are some fundamental principles about the powers of the executing court. We have to know. Here, number one, the fundamental principles. Here, as a general rule, territorial jurisdiction is a conditioned precedent to a court executing a decree, and therefore no court can execute a decree in respect of a property situated entirely outside its local jurisdiction. Here, number one, fundamental principles, it depends upon the territorial jurisdictions. Here, this executing court cannot exercise whatever the subject matter. It doesn't belong to these jurisdictions. It cannot enforce this outside this jurisdiction of the court. Here, the executing court cannot enforce these judgments or order outside the jurisdiction of this court, in which the property is situated. That is, here, an executing court. Secondly, an executing court cannot go behind the decree. Here, it must take the decree as it stands and execute it according to its terms. It has no power to vary or modify the terms. It has no power to question its legality or correctness. Here, the executing court cannot go behind the decree. Whatever the decree given by the court which has passed it must be based on this. Here, the executing court, they have no right to vary or modify this judgment or decree. Here, and the executing court cannot question about the legality or correctness of this judgment or decree. Yeah, this is based on the principal step. A proceeding to enforce its judgments is collateral to the judgments, and therefore no inquiry into its regularity or correctness can be permitted in such a proceeding. Yeah, it is based on the principle that whatever the judgment or decree is given to the executing court to enforce, yeah, it is based on some collateral, some condition only. That this executing court, they have no right to questions about the legality or correctness of this judgment or decree. Here, the executing court just they have to comply with the procedure. They have to power only to enforce this judgment or decree for the judgment creditor or judgment holder from the judgment debtor. That is, here it extends only to the procedure, but doesn't extend in the substantive rights of the parties. That is, whatever already decided by the court which has passed it. Here, now the number third. In case of inherent lack of jurisdictions, the decree passed by the court is a nullity, and its invalidity could be set up wherever and whenever it is sought to be enforced, whether in executions or in collateral proceedings. In such a case, there is no question of going behind the decree, for really in the eye of the law, there is no decree at all. Now, next principles. Here, if there is inherent lack of jurisdictions, if there is no jurisdiction at all to the court which has passed the decree or judgments, here it will be nullity. It will not enforceable at all. Hence, there cannot be questions about the enforcement of these proceedings by the executing court, and the executing court they have no right to question the legality or correctness of these judgments or decree. It is totally void ab initio based on the inherent lack of jurisdictions. Here, number 4, fundamental principles. Yeah, inherent lack of jurisdictions, however, must appear on the face of the record. Here, hence, if the decree on the face of it discloses some material on the basis of which the court could have passed the decree, it would be valid. That is, yeah, and this lack of inherent lack of jurisdictions, it must be appear on the face of the record. And hence, if the decree on the face of it discloses some material on the basis of which the court could have passed the decree, it would be valid. Yeah. And if the court they have been discloses some matters regarding this, yeah, in these cases, if it is corrected by the court, which have been passed the judgments or decree, when they got the jurisdictions, then only they can pass the decree, and it can be enforceable by the executing court. Here, in such a case, the executing court must accept and execute the decree as it stands and cannot go behind it. In these cases, the executing court, they must have to comply with whatever the judgment of decree given by the court which had been passed this judgment or decree. That is, if the court they had the jurisdictions, then it can be enforceable, and if the court which passed the judgments or decree, if they had not jurisdictions, then the executing court cannot enforce this judgment or decree. This must be complied with based on the inherent lack of jurisdictions. It is, yeah. To allow the executing court to go behind that limit would be to exalt it to the status of a superior court sitting in appeal over the decision of the court which has passed a decree. Yeah, in some extent, that is, yeah, the power of the executing court, it can be given, promoted like the superior court, like the appellate court in some extent. Regarding the some questions for the enforcement of these decrees, yeah, in some circumstances, the executing court, they have right to determine the enforcement of such decrees. That's why can be exalted into the status of a superior court sitting in appeal. It is. If some question arises at the procedure of the enforcement by the executing court, in these cases, at the moment of the satisfaction of the decree, at the moment of the discharge of the decree, in these cases, the executing court, they have right to determine. That is, here, number 5, a decree which is otherwise valid and executable doesn't become inexecutable on the date of the decree holder or of the judgment's debtor, and can be executed against his legal representatives. Here, now the next fundamental principles. Here, a decree which is executable, it cannot become the inexecutable on the ground that the judgment creditor, judgment holder, or the judgment debtor they have expired, they have dead. Here, this judgment or decree can be enforced for the legal representative, for their legal representatives, for their legal representatives, or against the legal representatives. Yeah, the dead or expired of the judgment creditor or the judgment debtor, it doesn't matter if the judgment or decree is enforceable. It can be enforced forever. That is against a legal representative. Yeah. Now, next fundamental principle. When the terms of a decree are vague or ambiguous, an executing court can construe the decree to ascertain its precise meaning. In case of the decree, when it is vague or ambiguous, that means which is not clear in its meaning, it can be construction by the executing court. Executing court can correct about this ambiguous meaning. Here, for this purpose, the executing court may refer not only to the judgments but also the pleadings of the case. Here, for the correctness of this vague or ambiguous judgment or decree, here, at the moment of the enforcement by the executing court, the executing court can refer the judgments and pleadings of the case, whatever the written submission by the plaintiff, claimants, or whatever the written submission by the defendant or respondent. It can be referred by the executing court at the enforcement moments. Here, now the next fundamental principle. Here, an executing court can go into the questions of the executability or otherwise of the decree and conditions and consider whether by any subsequent developments the decree has ceased to be executable according to its terms. Here, an executing court can go into the question. Here, some question can be raised by the executing court. If by the subsequent developments, if the judgment or decree cannot be enforceable against the parties, this must be observed by the executing court. If by some subsequent developments, if the judgments or decree cannot be enforced, it must be observed. This question must be observed by the executing court. Here, next principle, a decree which becomes inexecutable by operation of law may become executable by virtue of a subsequent amendments in the statute and can be executed after such amendment. Here, this principle says that here, if a decree or judgments, if it is not enforceable by virtue of the provisions of the law at that moment when the judgment or decree is passed, but if there is subsequent amendments of this statute, of these provisions, and if this judgment or decree is become enforceable, then by these subsequent amendments, there the executing court, they have right to enforce this judgment or order or decree. Here, next principle, the executing court has power to mold the relief granted to the plaintiff in accordance with the circumstances. Yeah, in some extent, the executing court, hmm, by observing the circumstances, hmm, yeah, the executing court they have power to mold the relief. Hmm. Whatever the relief granted to the judgment creditor, it can be molded, it can be changed by the executing court based on the equity and good conscience. That is, this power is given to the executing court. Here, the court executing the decree transferred to it has the same powers in executing such decree as if it had been passed by itself. Yeah. Now, whatever is judgment or decree transferred to the executing court for the enforcement of this judgment or decree, yeah, they have the same power as the court which has passed the judgment or decree. Yeah, the executing court, they have the same power in this transferred judgment or decree for enforcement. If it had been passed by itself. If this judgment or decree, if it had been passed by this executing court, that is, this power is given to the executing court. That is, at the moment of the transfer for the enforcement of this judgment or decree. Yet, up to this, we have been clearly discussed about the general concept of executions and related provisions for the powers of the executing courts. Here, I think we have got the clear concept under this topic. Okay, that's all.